Welcome back to the barn. I'm Shorty.
I'm Jake.
As promised, we have some box openings. What do we got, Jake?
These are the Tusk crash bars, the upper crash bars.
And I believe in this box here I have the lowers. So let's get on with it. While he's doing that, I'll tell you where we got them and how much they cost. So the upper crash bars are a 3D cycle part. We paid $209.99 for those. And the lower crash bars I got off of Rocky Mountain ATV, and those were $109.99. Now, the one thing I will say is I don't know if it's because of the sale that Kawasaki's having or whatnot, but these parts do run out really quick, and you have to wait for them. Rocky Mountain ATV has a waiting list. If you subscribe to their page, you can give them your email address, and when the parts come back in stock, they email you immediately. And that's how I ended up with the crash bars, the lowers anyway. So just my advice would be, get right on it. If they email you, don't wait. Get on, order the parts you were waiting for.
You gotta.
Oh, you want me to do the hardware, huh?
You can do hardware and directions.
Oh, I get to do the directions too? No, you're doing them.
All right. Let's make sure we got everything first. Says we should have a left and right crash bar. We do.
They look like
coating
they're
looks pretty good on them.
stickers.
Oh, of course.
Who's the manufacturer?
I can't recall. It may have been Tusk.
I think so.
Okay. We should also have one aluminum spacer.
One aluminum spacer.
You should have two button head 8mm by 35 bolts.
I believe that those are those.
You have two 8mm by 44mm flange bolts.
Those are the phalanges.
One front bracket.
I believe that's a front bracket.
And an M8 locking flange nut. Two of them.
Two of them right here.
And you should have one
This little
8mm by 20 flange bolt.
The one thing I just did notice, there is a little glitch with the powder coat there.
Yep, spec.
So there's an area that the powder coat didn't take to on this bracket. Not a big deal. I'll touch that up with a little black spray paint. All right, so if you want to clear the bench, I'll get the lowers. Just put it all in the drawer. Package of hardware. One for you. One for me.
And granted, these were wrapped better than this, but somebody was like a little boy at Christmas and had to look.
Thanks, Jake.
I gave you up.
Why'd you look? If you have young kids, you might want to throw the bubble wrap away because it's really neat. It sticks. So I can see a little brother or a pet getting involved.
We're going to have a left side and a right side lower. It looks like we got those. There's 8 Allen head bolts. They're already installed in here. And the half clamps are attached. Must be for shippings. And we have two M8 by 125 by 16mm bolts. And that's what came in the lower crash bar.
Now, did we decide if these were going to go on before the new skid plate or after the new skid plate? What did we decide we were going to do?
We're going to put them on today.
Okay. We're going to put these on today. So we'll be right back with an install. Hey Jake, a couple things didn't happen today. I didn't win the lottery. Did you?
I did not.
Did you receive a check from any company that we bought a part from?
I didn't receive one of them either.
I didn't either. Therefore, any part reviews we do
Are of our own
opinion. So that's that disclaimer. Now we're going to move on to what you will need to complete the project today. We'll be installing Tusk upper and lower crash bars. To do that, we will use
a 4mm Allen, a 5mm Allen, a 13mm ratcheting wrench if you have it.
Why are we using a ratcheting wrench?
Because the bolt in the front for the bracket is hard to get to, and a ratcheting wrench is much easier. Then we will need a 12mm socket and wrench, an 8mm wrench or socket. Either one will work. A 10mm wrench, a Shorty extension, and a ratchet. Now that's what you're going to need for the upper and lower crash bars from Tusk.
Hey, have I thanked you for your help?
We'll discuss that later. It says is remove this cover. You're going to take 4mm Allen and take that off. I'm going to remove the skid plate ahead of time. It says you may or may not have to. We're going to be replacing it, so I'm going to take that off. You need an 8mm socket and a 10mm wrench.
Once again, these screws have plastic washers on them. You want to be careful not to lose those. The next step is to remove these two frame-mounted bolts.
You're going to need
A
12mm wrench and a 12mm socket. Next step is to find the threaded hole below the headlight above the fender. That is right here. I know you won't be able to see it. Maybe we'll include a picture.
And if you want to show them, that's how you prep the...
You take your front bracket with your bolt and your spacer, and it goes in there, and you thread it up in. So you'll have something like...
The directions rather weren't 100% clear.
You have to remove those bolts too.
And then
you put your two long bolts you took out of your motor mount in the left side. And now we're going to try to slide this all together.
and there is an order that these bolts need to be tightened.
The directions tell you to tighten the bracket in the front to the bike first. Second, you tighten the two bolts that go through the bars to the bracket. Third, you tighten the two sides. And lastly, you tighten the motor mount frame mounts on the bottom. And your covers, right now, you put your covers back on, they snap in the grommets, and that one little screw, it takes, I believe, 4mm Allen head.
Okay, so the next step are these lowers. The lowers attach by wrapping one half of the collar around the bar, and then with the supplied bolt, you mount the bottom of the bracket to the threaded hole on the frame. It is
Review of the install.
view of the install. So we're reviewing the Tusk crash bars, both the upper and the lowers. Quality of the product?
Seems to be pretty good. They're stiff.
I like the bends. I like the way everything secures to the bike. Install.
It can be difficult doing the two bolts that go through the frame in the front of the motor mount. And the side ones behind here.
Yeah, it's gonna take. I think it would be better with two sets of hands.
Yes. It's possible to do it by yourself, but it would be so much easier with two.
The frame mounting bolts, I think, are the the big ones, the engine mount bolts.
Yeah.
Those you have to work those back through. They don't go gently. I think I'm prepared to give it a 9 out of 10.
They look good. They seem like they're pretty strong. I'd probably go with a 9.
So we're gonna try to get the lights installed on them tonight. We're gonna have to hunt for some brackets that I care for a little bit more. And the reason that the bike looks the way that it does is we're not gonna put the crash plate, the bash plate, the skid plate back underneath the bike tonight because we're gonna be installing a
Euro
engineering skid plate. So it's kind of senseless to put one on to take one off.
The lower crash bars will work with the factory skid plate. It doesn't. They mount behind where that would be, so that wouldn't be an issue for you.
But yeah, I'm pleased. I'm pleased. I do believe it gives the bike a whole different appearance.
Well, just nice knowing that you got that security.
Absolutely.
I do like the lowers. That's protecting that water pump and stuff. Pretty good over there. This side, not a lot to protect. I guess you do have a case, but
Yep. Well, overall, I think this project was pretty much a success.
like I said, not overly difficult with two of us. Might struggle a little bit with one.
So until we meet on the road,
On the trail.
have a good night.